We're coming back to you live from our rooms. I'm Zach.
And I'm Sean. Wow, that's perfect.
I kind of forgot that like we hadn't even started the episode yet, and then like as you said that, I was like, wait, this is it. This is the moment.
The time has come. Oh,
I that was Kairos in all of its glory.
that was what?
Wow, uneducated swine.
Pyros?
Kairos.
Kairos? Is that like the main character in Beyblade?
Yeah.
Last name Roast?
Yeah. Probably.
I'm pretty sure that kid's name was. Wait 1 second. I need to double check my sources here. Main character.
I never watched Beyblade, so I have no help here.
I had a video game of it. Oh no, the old one, please.
The good
not
one.
the new one.
The good old
Yeah.
days.
I don't know who this person is.
They don't make it like they used to.
Tyson. Nope, I'm way off. Isn't there a person named Kai? Or Kai, original Beyblade. Oh, he was the cool, edgy kid.
In other words, he was everything Sean wanted to be.
Dude, he has like. I'll just send you a picture. I'll just send. Wait, no, I didn't make sure to save the right thing here. He has like face like drawings, I guess. They're probably supposed to be like tattoos. Oh, don't make it a link. Oh no, don't do that. Oh no.
Sean, you're really failing with technology right now. Do you
Dude,
want me
always.
to like pause the recording and you can like figure this out? The audience is
No,
embarrassed for you.
No, it's fine. That's normal for them to be embarrassed for me. Whatever, I'll just send that. There it is. Dude, look at this kid.
This was the beginning of the black sheep.
This is where it all started.
Sean saw him and was like, yes. Part
Let's
of
be
me
real.
resonates with him on a whole new level.
This isn't even the beginning of the black sheep. Look at that pose. That's the beginning of PS. Look at that pose.
Wait, Sean. Okay, fade out that picture and put slowly fade in PS. It's the same picture.
It's 1-to-1 actually. If you replace the face markings with blush, we are there.
Dude,
Like-
dude. This was the roots of PP and PS. That's insane.
You didn't even know about him.
I know. It was, but you know, my unconscious did.
The cloud.
The collective.
The collective. We are the collective.
We are one.
I should write a song about the the collective unconscious and call it like "We Are the Collective," and it sounds like some kind of statement on like maybe I don't know, socialism or something like that. It sounds like I'm making a statement or like about the workforce, but instead it's literally just about Carl Jung and the collective unconscious and how it's correct. It's just right.
I would love that song.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
You like everything I make. You're kind of boring to.
yeah. I mean, except for, you know, the one song.
Oh.
You know,
Zach,
the
what
one,
is your
the one I
least
told
favorite
you that I loved, and I was like, man, this was trash. I'm never listening to this garbage again.
Oh, which one?
You know the one. You know the one.
Zach.
Yeah.
Zach.
Yeah.
Are you just embarrassed because you love every single thing I've ever created in my life and you're like my biggest simp?
Yeah. I would out me like that. Sean, can I rant for a moment?
Yeah. I'm just going to say this whole time you're ranting, I'm going to be staring at Kai. So go
Okay,
ahead.
great. That is perfect. Apparently my Google helper assistant, what is her name? was I activated. I just looked down at my phone. It just says good, good, great, great, and I'm like, oh great. Don't search that, please. Anyway,
Oh, cool.
man, this semester is coming to a close. It is. Today was the last day of classes for me.
Oh my gosh,
We got
I had
we
no
got
idea.
we got finals. And I'm
Dude.
stressed out of my mind. It's fine though. I already submitted one 10-page paper. I have two more 10-page papers on top of a written final. Um, on top of just normal other assignments I have to get done. So it's fine. It's
Woof.
fine. I'm hanging by a thread. And by that I mean I've been. You know when you like, have you ever been so stressed and you know you have to be working on something that you just don't and you procrastinate it, and so all of a sudden you're more stressed about it? That's been me recently. It's been great.
Yeah.
But no, it's fine. I have a plan of what to do each day to get things done, and I'm feeling pretty good. I will say today was the last day of like one of my classes I'm basically done with. We had class today, and I think I mentioned this to you before. We this was a class we were. It was a service learning course which we were working with a tax clinic and doing interviews and stuff for them to gather
Right.
research.
Yes.
Basically today we had to like write an executive summary as groups, and then like today we basically presented all of our findings and recommendations to the owner of the organization over a
Whoa.
meeting. Yeah, that was
Wild.
yeah, it was a little intimidating, but it went really well. And so class finishes up, and we have like I don't know 10 minutes before class actually ends. Like we had jumped off the call, and my professor was up there just talking. Comes to find out, my class, they had just revamped the entire social impact center at UVU, and this course was a pilot course of like the new system they want to do, and
Whoa.
yeah, I didn't know that until just barely. But
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, you guys did great. This is awesome. You guys gave us awesome feedback and what we're gonna be doing in the future. I'm like, what the fetch? It gets crazier because apparently the organization we worked with is going to be working with UVU through like in the coming years, like in the coming semesters, and more classes are going to be doing more research and analysis for them, like based off of what we found and recommended. So like
Whoa.
we were like the start of like more courses to come, which is kind of like a crazy thing. I'm like, what the fetch?
Whoa.
So
That's
really,
hot.
I'm just incredible, and I did everything, and UVU should be paying me.
I was gonna say, like, you did this not even for free. You paid them to do this.
Yeah. Yep. I love that. Yeah. When you put it that way.
I mean, you didn't pay the company specifically. You paid
No,
you.
yeah, I paid UVU, but really they used my tuition money.
Yeah.
But no, it was really good. It was like the class wasn't terrible. It was just a lot of group work. I hate group work, so like yeah. Um,
But overall, do you think it was like a different enough classroom experience that you're like, yes, I think other people who are like in my degree or going through similar degrees should, or it would be a good experience for them to
no,
go through.
I do think it's a good experience. So like I assume you had to take a research methods class for your major.
Yes, sir.
Basically, it is the research methods class, except in application.
Okay.
Um,
That's yeah.
and like I think that's absolutely valuable. Like there's I think we even provided a really good stepping stone for like other courses to follow our work and to actually provide meaningful experiences to, which was like it's cool to act. At the end of the day, it was really cool to like actually have something you did in the semester matter for more than just a grade, which was cool. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Huh.
This is like completely nonsense and just silly, building off of that extremely deep thought.
Yeah, sure. We're here for it.
So my last assignment in this class is like some sort of reflection assignment, and she was going through like all the options. She's like, yeah, you could do a presentation, like a Canvas presentation. You could do a paper if you want. You could do a podcast. I was like, oh. and then she was just, I'm like, what am I trying to say? Fetching, that was the important part. I am going to do a podcast episode because it's by far the easiest option. I can just blabber, and you know what? I'm good at blabbering.
Yeah.
I'm not good at blabbering. Let's be honest. I just have to second guess that. No, I'm terrible at talking.
Spent like the last 20 seconds like stumbling over your words.
Listen.
Then finished it with, I am good at blabbering.
If anything, I'm good at lying to myself.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's a skill, man. That's a skill.
Thank you. No, what I was trying to say, it was so funny because she was talking about the podcast, and she's like, and who knows, maybe this will be really easy for some of you because maybe some of you already have a podcast. And then it was
She's
just
like staring at you.
No. Oh no! That's the worst part. She did look over to me after she like finished her sentence. I'm like, there's no way she does. Like, there's no chance. And I just had the most blank expression on my face. I just like showed no emotion.
I love the idea that she like finishes saying that and she's just like saying it and passing and she looks over at you and you're just like beet red. Your hands like gripping the edges of your desk like
Wait, it's the no. It's this meme.
Sweat dripping like water. She's like just has like a tiny little table that continues on. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So wait. Be real with me right now.
Yeah.
Is this episode your final for that class, Zach?
I wish.
Wow.
It has to be a reflection of the course. And
dude, we can do that.
I mean, I already reflected a little bit on this course.
Yeah.
But I actually have to have 4 to 5 sources, which is stupid. But yeah, I didn't come prepared.
That's fine. Pull up Way of Kings, baby. That's a source.
Yeah! Journey before destination. See, really, this class was about the journey. It was about the research we did along the way.
It was very cool to arrive at our destination and give our report to the head of the company. But what really mattered in the end was the journey.
You know, I was really terrified to get up there and present our findings, but strength before weakness.
Just after every single one of these, I just like add in like slowly building inspirational music.
you like start whipping out quotes from like the Way of Kings within the Way of Kings, talking about walking to Yurithuru from the Tanakon.
That would be so cool. Oh my gosh.
I'll submit this underneath my actual submission. And
bold.
That is bold. And then when she hears all the jokes about us kissing professors, she's gonna be real concerned.
Dude, the idea of sharing the podcast with almost anyone, but let alone a college professor. Oh man.
Well, here's the thing. As she was like going over the requirements, I was like, I wonder if she would be okay with me like actually giving a reflection through application, and by that I mean like having a podcast episode with you who actually like reflected on the class, like I had your insights and gave you like asked you questions and like gave you answers and crap like that. But then I had the thought, I was like, but then that means she knows there's more. And that's not something I want.
She's a busy college professor. She won't even look into it. It's fine.
You say that. But she is like the one professor that I could see just being like, oh, that's one of my students has the podcast. That's so cool. I want to know a little bit more about them. And like actually like listen to one episode and like it just happens to be the worst one imaginable.
your entire like social standing at UVU.
It's just-
They're just like you like meet with your counselor. You're like, yeah, so I'm just making sure I'm still set to graduate at the end of summer, and they're like, yeah, about that. You were, but you got
we
word,
saw your podcast.
and it's all over the school. It's in the school newspaper. Like the other kid doesn't matter. He's gone. It's too late. We can't take his stuff back. But for you, I'm afraid you're gonna have to start over. You've clearly learned nothing.
Hey, you know what? And if Wiki's is telling me anything, it's about the journey, not the destination. So it's just one more bump in the road.
One more bump. One more short 4-year bump in the road.
I would no, I'd quit. I'd retire. I would
man.
move to some rural town in the middle of nowhere and become a farmer.
Dude, if Spicy Nugs was the reason that you got kicked out of college, I would never forgive myself. I cannot, because it's just flashbacks to those like semester 1 where we were talking about change, and I would talk and be like, man, it's kind of crazy just having you here at college. I never expected it, and I think it's so cool that you're putting forth this effort. And then it'll just flash back to modern day, me just like with like a cup in my hand that's filled with blue Gatorade. It's just all stained around my mouth, and I'm just staring out into nothing.
Just know that you're responsible for destroying my life.
I just destroyed your entire future.
No, I'm sure I've helped enough within all of these episodes. I'm sure I've dug my own grave.
Dude, at that point, our only option at that point, the only thing I would be able to think to do to make anything right is I'd be like, we have to actually try to get viewers on this so we can make money. That's our only option now.
No, my short-term scheme for the YouTube money now is to be a long-time investment.
Yep.
That's my
This is
nightmare.
your career now.
We
Spicy
already
Nugs
established
Smash
in
Bros.
this episode that I cannot talk, so having a career that is only audio-driven, I might be screwed.
Hey, Zach, what's your major again?
It's carology.
Carology, I forgot, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm also
totally.
minoring in anime studies.
Man, I hear that like there's like 3 classes for One Piece.
Oh yeah, I've avoided those.
And to quote or to reference Dan from Game Grumps, it's kind of crazy how many there are. You think it'd all just be One Piece?
Wait, that's actually pretty good. What the fuck?
It's so stupid. Anyways, Zach, you got anything to talk about, or would you like me to
Me?
take this since you're graduate or since you're finishing up the semester? You know, I've got thoughts in my brain. If I could share, if you want, or if you wanted to talk, that's cool too. I'm fine either way.
Sean, I would be honored if you would enlighten me with a graduate thought, for I have never had a graduate thought.
Fetch. I didn't want this. I'm just kidding. Oh no, I was really hoping to take that one.
I got stuff. I do have stuff, but
No, I'm totally kidding. I could share something. Let me think back.
oh no, we're reminiscing again.
No, what I'm doing actually is I emailed Nikki some questions from a book I was reading, and I can't remember what they were. So
Oh,
I'm quickly just don't worry about that. Just
well, Sean, why don't you just ask me, because you know I have the answers to almost everything, right? Like I am a
Okay,
bodhisattva.
Okay, here we go. This is it. Yes, it's all coming together now. So I'm reading a book right now. It's called Sophie's World. It was recommended to me by my brother-in-law. who read it for like an intro philosophy class, I believe. Um, Sophie's World. Yeah. And it's a novel, but it's a novel that takes you through the history of Western philosophy. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. It's a nice history lesson. Some of the stuff I already know, some of the stuff is kind of newish, some of the stuff I just forgot. It's fun. It's presented in like a novel form, so that's kind of cool. Um, it's but so basically the premise is there's a 14-year-old girl, her name is Sophie, and she starts getting letters in her mailbox that are just addressed to her but have no return in any kind of way. And at first it's just like questions. The first one is, who are you? That's it. Um, Sounds like the beginning of a horror movie. Honestly, a lot of this book makes me like kind of uncomfortable because I can feel it going wrong, but it definitely won't because that's not the point of it.
It's
But
actually a
anyways,
horror book disguised as a work of philosophy.
it, it could be, but like it would very easily swing into it. I can see how. I won't talk about it. Basically, the letters are like some guy, we don't really know who he is, but he's sending her like a course on philosophy, basically. And she's reading through it, and we get to like she'll read through his like history of philosophy, talking about specific philosophers, and then we get to hear her thoughts on it and be like from a 14-year-old's perspective, like, oh my gosh, what does this mean? How do I deal with this? How do I come to terms with this idea? It's kind of cool because it makes it applicable as soon as you finish learning about it. But one of the first like major packets that she gets from him, um, he breaks down the idea of philosophy, and his claim is that all you need to be, or to be a good philosopher, is to have a sense of wonder. Um, and so he argues that like children are coming to this world and everything is amazing. It's incredible. Like that's why they're like incessantly like point at something and be like, "Whoa, look at that! It's a dog! It's a dog!" And like the adults are like, "Yeah, it's a dog." Like, okay, let's move on. You can calm down, right? So his argument is that there's like this sense of wonder, and that a philosopher is someone who can continue to keep that sense of wonder throughout life. Whereas other people in the world just kind of fall into the mundanity, the boredom, the schedules, the habits, and they kind of lose sight of how amazing everything is in just living every day and being used to it. Um, so I like that concept. I actually really do, because it's something that I try to like accrue within myself. Is this idea that like I can like I can go like climb a mountain and see a sunset, and it can be still so beautiful, even though I've seen a lot of other sunsets.
Right, right.
Or just like I can drive to work and I can look out across the valley and be like, wow, that's crazy. Or I can wake up and it's like that's enough. Like I've woken up and that's kind of crazy that I'm even alive right now. Um, I like to think that I try to build up those kind of feelings, but something that the book has not covered yet, and I don't know if it will. I haven't gotten very far in it, but it's that my question was then like, because from the 14-year-old's perspective, she immediately was like, oh my gosh, I need to be able to keep this sense of wonder within myself. And so she started immediately like pointing out flaws with how her mother acted after her day of work, Like, I know exactly what you're going to do because you do the same thing every day, which is like, okay, sure. But then I was like, but how do I deal with that as an adult? When I have to do those things, when I have to live the life where I go step by step, where I have to pay my taxes, where I have to do all those things. How do you achieve and continue to feel that sense of wonder, even though you get stuck in all of the habits at the same time? That's the basic question. I don't know how much of a thought I have on it, but maybe you have something.
Boy, am I glad you came to me. Because I, Zach, the one, the only, the man with all
Mhm.
the answers,
Yes.
I'm prepared to blow your mind.
You're just stalling for time. I hear you.
No, I actually do have a thought. I just wanted to boost my ego a little before I started.
Oh, fair enough.
It's been down in the dumps recently. No,
Oh, shoot.
no. So when you first posed the question of how to keep this sense of wonder alive as an adult, two thoughts came to mind. The first was when we have all these responsibilities, things we have to do, like taxes, like waking up, going to work, doing the things we don't necessarily want to do, but we have to do to survive, right? I think a lot of that wonder, or the way we can keep that wonder alive, comes in the small moments in between. Kind of like what you mentioned, like driving to work and looking out across the valley, or being able to like just look outside after you come home from work after a long day and admire the sunset and just let your mind wander. And the other thought I had come to mind is, I think there are some days, and maybe this is just coming from me just being crazy busy recently, and procrastinating when I shouldn't procrastinate. But I do think that there are some days where maybe you just won't have the time or mental resources to wonder or have that sense of wonder. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think that just because maybe one day it was super crazy doesn't mean you can stop and admire and engage in that wonder or imagination or whatever it is the next day. It's just a matter of time management, I suppose. Which is again is like a very adult answer, like time management. So really, I've lost my sense of wonder. I will never be a true philosopher. And
Well, it's funny, like you say that, and like I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But then at the same time, I was thinking exactly what you just said. Like, oh, but like time management, that's such like a like you have to do that.
Well,
Anyways.
I think that's the part where the wonder comes in. 'Cause I think we manage our time so much, but it's in those spare moments we have where we can really see that wonder and like let ourselves get lost. I think the wonder is the times that we don't account for. But you also have to let yourself wonder because those times can if those times can I think just as easily well be as like just another slog or like you're mentally checked out. But like I think if you're in the right mindset, the time we don't plan is the time where we are going to experience that wonder.
What you just said made me think of a couple of things. First of all, I think I've talked about this before, but there was a guy in my nihilism class that we read who's he talked about that in order to grow as a person, you have to approach the idea of nothingness and nihilism. And you have to be able to, he literally, it's translated as like, hang yourself out into it. And it's going to feel very uncomfortable. But it's through that discomfort that you come to the realization that, like, holy cow, I'm alive. Like, all of this exists, and it's just as equally possible that none of this existed. That's pretty crazy. So that's the first thing it made me think of. Just like the idea of like leaving time for yourself kind of coincides with the idea of like hanging yourself into the nothingness in a more grounded kind of way.
Yeah.
The other thought I had more personally to me, you said something along the lines of like those moments can just become another part of the drone, like another part of just everything else. And I feel like for so long, like I'll use like Christmas as an example, okay? Because like there's a billion Christmas movies about like the magic of Christmas.
Yeah, yeah.
And like I feel like it's a good example, even though it's kind of cheesy, where it's this like idea that like, oh, you need to let yourself feel the magic or whatever. And there's always like the Grinch character who's like, oh, I hate Christmas. This sucks. But like unironically, in a lot of ways, like holidays for so long and still kind of for me to this day are like a moment of like frustration instead of like the happiness,
Yeah.
because it doesn't feel like, oh, we're all getting together and celebrating. It feels like, okay, we all get to take a day away from our job and then we have to go back tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
um and so it just, like you said, it becomes a part of like the drone. And what kind of helped me change that idea, it's letting yourself just be there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because holidays became like this like marking point for me, where I was like, oh my gosh, another year has passed. I've wasted all of this time. I've failed in this many ways. And so it became a way for me to reflect on all of the failures I've had, instead of being like a moment for me to be with my family or my friends, and to just like enjoy being together. Um, Anyways, I think I'm losing touch with
No.
what I'm talking about. So,
No, no, I like that example. For me, I have another example which I think fits this well, of like this idea of like wonder coming and like the times you don't plan. Um, and for me, this is actually something that like has happened all within this semester, which is kind of crazy. Um,
mm,
but so this semester I've had to do a lot of driving, just because how my schedule planned out. I'm either going down to UVU, back to my house, then to work, or like from UVU straight up to work, all the way back down, and it's a good like 35 minute drive from one to the other. So like, I've been doing quite a bit of driving, and for the first couple months, like I guess month and a half, like I hated the commute. Like it was absolute. Like, it was just like I didn't listen to music. I didn't do anything. I just like sat there in silence and just drove. And like I found myself despising the commute itself. And then recently I was like, well, I need to do something with this time, and this isn't like even time management. It was more of like I wanted to change. Like, I'm like, if I'm going to be stuck doing this, I want it to be a little bit better, right? And so at first, I decided just to use the time to like brainstorm ideas for a book I was writing, or
mm,
I started listening, just like letting YouTube autoplay just take me to random music I would never have found on my own. Um, and then more recently, I've been listening to podcasts, just in between drives and places. And like recently, I feel like that has like not only like helped spark that like that day to day wonder, but like it has really helped take me out of this like drone state of just this is where I am, this is where I have to go, like point A, point B, whatever is in between doesn't matter. So I don't know, I feel like that was like for me, as I feel like is actually a really good example of just um like how we can let wonder, how we can engage with the wonder like on like a day-to-day basis. And like,
mm,
'cause I do think you have to be in the right mindset to even notice the wonder.
yeah. And I think what you said earlier is really helpful as well. Um, just the idea that like it's not, you're not always going to accomplish it, because like you're not going to have the mental resources. You're going to have a bad day, like, and that's okay. Um, because I mean, this like goes back to a million other things we've talked about with like joy and stuff like that. But just like the idea that like it's okay that things just are bad sometimes,
Mm.
and you can just exist with the bad, and it's okay. Um, and so I think that's part of fetch, dude. We joked about it so much, but we just circled back around to journey before destination.
We always come crawling back.
It's not about always feeling wonder. It's about experiencing the different parts of life. And parts of the life is bad, and you won't feel wondering during those parts. And that's okay. You can just experience it, because that's the journey. There, I said it. All right, it's fine. We
Wow.
got, you know what? We haven't done this yet today, so we better. The journey. The journey. Take me back on the journey. The journey. That's it.
Man, I was swaying. I was grooving. And you just cut me off like that? What the fetch?
Yeah, I had nothing else in me.
I want you to know, whenever you, like, before when you first like started pulling out the guitar, we were like, we're gonna have these outro songs, a unique one every single time. At first, I was like, there was a little bit of stress, there was a little bit of anxiety. I'm like, I'm part of this podcast. I need to pitch in. And now I'm just like, you know what? Sean got this. I believe in him. And let me tell you, I've never been so relaxed in my life.
Well, thanks, man. I will say, on that note, screw you. But on the other note, it's because of that belief in me that you know what? Screw you. It's not because of you at all. It's because I work hard at playing guitar, and I can sort of play sometimes. And my mom said I'm really good at it, and I believe her because she's always telling the truth to me.
Thank you all so much for watching. I'm still Zach.
And I'm still shocked.
We'll see you next time.
The journey. Take me back on the journey. The journey. That's it. Oh my gosh.
I'm really glad that I didn't get your part recorded. Now I'm gonna sound like an absolute buffoon of a boy.
Yes!
When this goes up.
Yes! Thank you. That makes me feel important and smart.
You know what? I am here for you, Sean. I am here to boost your ego.
Let me tell you a quick story. Quick story.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so I was in St. George this past weekend. And across from where my grandparents' house is, there's like a little cafe or something called Tiffany's. And that morning, it was packed. It was insane how many people were there. And I was like, wow, there's so many people at this place. I've never seen this before. And Allison was like, well, haven't you heard about breakfast at Tiffany's? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's true. And then we drove for a little bit. And then I was like, breakfast at Tiffany's. And I was like, Allison, and I'll pose this to you. This is the question I asked Allison. I asked her, do you think it would change how you feel about that song, or if people in general would feel about that song if instead of singing breakfast at Tiffany's, they sang breakfast at Tiffany's? What do you think, Zach?
Honestly, I think it would only enhance the song to greater heights.
See, and this is the incredible thing, because as soon as I said it, I was about to say there's only one correct answer. And the correct answer in my mind is it would make it worse. But then Allison is smarter than both of us.
Oh, I believe it.
Because she says it depends. And I was like, how? And she's like, well, if it's a little kid singing, it's very cute and adorable. But if it's like a full-grown adult, it's kind of weird. I was like, that's some fourth dimensional thinking right there. Like, I can't even argue. That's some good stuff right there.
Allison has been learning those critical thinking skills in all of her classes, and it shows.
It shows. What can you say?
Look, that's where I fell off. My classes haven't, brought up critical thinking in a hot while, and so I kind of just stopped doing it. And I'm kind of lacking now. I'm gonna be straight up.
Yeah, I only think critically when I'm told to.